Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Obi Thorin Alliance. What are we doing today, Jacob?
Our top 5 Amazon Prime shows.
So stick around and see what makes the list. So Amazon Prime, what comes to mind when you think of Amazon Prime? Not necessarily shows, but in terms of streaming, where's it ranked compared to the other streaming services?
Not at the top, but in the middle. They're very strong. I enjoy watching their shows.
What type of shows do you think they tend to go with? Are they a limited series group, or they buy up previous shows, or or they bring out lots of originals?
They seem to do a lot of in between, a lot of limited series, a lot of interesting combinations of buying rights, like the Lord of the Ring rights come to mind, Wheel of Time, a lot of different things.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings one's something I think about. They've invested so much money on one particular franchise or royalties to access that, where the rest of their shows have been kind of sporadic and they haven't gone all out, but they decided to go with that. So shall we get into it? We'll go with number 5. Okay, so at number 5 I've got Utopia. So this is the US version. There is 2 versions of Utopia. The US version came out second. It only got 1 season, where the UK version had 2 seasons. It follows pretty much word for word what happens in the original UK version. I really liked it. I thought Rainn Wilson was awesome in it. I really would have liked to have seen it get multiple seasons, but sadly it only got the 1. But it was really good for 1 season, quite good.
My number 5 is anime Invincible. Really cool story involving alien species and kind of a Superman storyline of the father trying to teach the son how to with his powers. Really strong show, but it is a anime, so can't be higher than the other shows, but would highly recommend it, and I think it's a pretty good show.
So at number 4 I've gone Clarkson's Farm. So there's 2 seasons of this so far. So this is a real life kind of documentary series, I guess, that follows Clarkson from Top Gear and then Grand Touring, which it changed to basically buying up a farm and trying to learn how to do it and renovate it from scratch and run it. It's really interesting. He's a very funny guy, and just seeing how he adapts to farm life, and it's an extremely well received show.
My number 4 is Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy. John Krasinski out of The Office does an amazing acting performance, and the cool thing with this show is that we know how many seasons it's having. It's having 4 seasons, and I like that. Obviously, it would be nice if it had more seasons, but I like that we're knowing there's a end to it, and I like spy elements, the conspiracy to it, but sometimes it does get ridiculous at moments, but highly strong show, and I think anyone that likes spy thrillers and things like that, I think it's a really high caliber show.
So number 3 I've gone with Grand Touring, which is kind of the spin-off to the Top Gear franchise. So Top Gear is one of the, if not the most popular show at some point around the world, talking about and reviewing cars. The characters then started doing extreme challenges, and then now that's all they do. They make specials where the whole specials focus on one particular challenge. I believe they're making 1 more, but there's a few currently on Amazon Prime, and very well received, awesome watches, and one-off shows that go for about an hour. It's very easy to watch them as they come out.
My number 3 is Chris Pratt's show on Amazon Prime, The Terminal List. This is a great revenge story after Navy SEALs all die except for 2. And then they seen how the revenge story unfolds. This show, even if it got cancelled, it could have been just 1 season, and I love the action scenes, the story, how it unfolds. I think it's definitely one of the best shows on Prime Video, and it's just an amazing journey throughout.
So number 2, I've gone with The Test. So this is, again, a documentary series. There's 2 seasons of it now, a couple of episodes per season. It follows the Australian Test team. So it followed them firstly when they went and reclaimed the Ashes over in the UK, and it followed them getting a new coach, being Justin Langer. And then the second season, ironically, followed Justin Langer falling out of favour and losing his job as the coach of the Australian team. So one, you want to be invested in cricket to enjoy this, but if you do like cricket and you are a fan of Australian cricket, this show gives a really insightful look into the world of being a coach, being an analyst, a player, just what it's like in the world of cricket, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. It would be the equivalent of if Americans they made it's a documentary about the Yankees. You'd love it and like to see what goes on behind the scenes. So this is Australia's version, so it's quite good.
My number 2 is The Devil's Hour. This show has my 2 favorite things that show could have: sci-fi and crime elements, and it nails all elements. And this show could have been a limited series, but got renewed for 2 more seasons. And it's cool to see how there's different timelines, and I know some people might not like that, and that's why it's not higher on the list. This show might not appeal to everyone, but the chemistry, the acting, how the person wakes up at 3:33 every time, because that's the Devil's Hour time. One of my favorite shows on Amazon Prime, and it's acted amazingly by one of the Doctor Who's. Had such an amazing ride, and very much looking forward to the next season.
So number 1, I've gone with The Boys. The Boys is by far the best quality show on Amazon Prime, if not the best quality show across all streaming platforms. If you haven't seen it, you got to do yourself a favor. It really builds on from what's going on in the DC and the Marvel universe, but also makes fun of it, really, and it's just a unique show. It is crude, crass, has lots of violence, blood, gore, and swearing and sex scenes in it, so it's maybe not for everyone, but if you don't mind those things, you don't have to be a fan of superheroes whatsoever to enjoy this show. I think it has a much wider appeal, and I wouldn't even say the superheroes it is the main thing that happens in the show, but because it kind of pokes fun in it, you can be anti-heroes and massive mega fans and both enjoy it because it gives something for both.
I gotta completely agree. My number 1 is The Boys as well. I love how this show, out of all the TV shows, it has every season has been a nail biter, and I agree with Luke. Even if you're not a superhero fan, you can still love this show. And when I hear someone say Amazon Prime, I think of The Boys straight away. It's the best show on Amazon Prime. You don't know how many seasons they can still get out of it. That may be the main problem from the show, is they might try and nip as much season as they can instead of making more the main storylines or seasons that it needed, but still it's an amazing show, and I think you need to watch it. Even if you don't have an Amazon Prime account, this is what you get Amazon Prime for, to watch The Boys.
So our top 5, as you've seen, a bit all over the show. Well, not over the shop. We had very different shows. Out of the shows Jacob had put up and had in his top 5, The Boys was the only one I actually had seen, and I think out of the ones I suggested, had you seen any of them besides The Boys?
No.
So we have very different viewing when it comes to Amazon Prime.
Oh, except for Utopia.
Yeah, so our viewing deviates quite a lot there. I must admit, I know there is a lot of shows out there on Amazon that probably would be in other people's top 5. I just haven't seen them. So some shows that come to mind are Mrs. Mavel's. It's a comedy about a female comic. Really well received. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen The Terminal List, like you mentioned. I haven't seen Jack Ryan. I haven't seen
Reacher.
I haven't seen Jack Reacher. I haven't seen. There's lots of shows I haven't seen. So I will admit, my list has been quite short and didn't count for some mega shows, but I can only put in what I've seen, and I guess they haven't intrigued me enough to want to give them a watch yet.
I'm surprised you didn't put in Homecoming in your list.
Homecoming would have been the 6th on the list. I think the second season of Homecoming was a bit slower and not as interesting as the first season. I just had to go off the shows that I really have enjoyed thoroughly, and I really enjoyed The Test, and I like Clarkson's Farm, and they just happen to pip it at the post. But as I said, there is lots of probably better shows out there that Amazon Prime have made that I just haven't watched because they haven't caught my attention yet.
Well, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the list that we provided. As always, comment down your list below. Thank you for watching. As always, like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.